F1 in 2020 is officially underway. Cars took to the track earlier today for the first test in Barcelona. Now, it's been a very busy week in the world of Formula One. Cars being launched left, right, and centre. Some better than others, let's just put it that way. But we have got a video coming out this week where we are going to be reacting to each and every livery. What do we think of it? Rating it out of 10. And we'll be doing it with a very special guest as well. So stay tuned for that. But of course, one big thing that's been happening this week is, of course, car launches. It's been on the agenda throughout the course of the entire week. And by the time you've watched this, the first test would have already concluded. And I'm recording this before the first test, and I'm still having withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, it's. I'm really, I'm excited for the cars to be on the track once again. But hey, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on what's been happening while the cars have been launched. And we're going to be starting with the team that finished last in 2019. And that was, of course, Williams. And they are saying that 2020 marked a fresh start for the team. Now, it's an understatement to say that the 2019 season was an abysmal year for Williams. It was their worst year ever in the history of Formula One, scoring 1 point. That was of courtesy of Robert Kubica at the German Grand Prix. And that, of course, beats what their previous record was for the worst season in 2011 and in 2013 with 5 points. Now, back then was low for Williams. They looked like they were on the right tracks once the V6s came into the fold, and then just as the years went by, they just went lower and lower and lower, and now they are at rock bottom. But when they launched their car, the team principal Claire Williams said that 2020 marks a brand new start for Williams, and they'll be looking forward for 2020 and of course the future. Now, if you remember this time last year, they arrived 2 days late to pre-season testing, and of course there was already raised eyebrows about what's going on behind the scenes. Paddy Lowe never came to the test. He was then announced he was taking a bit of a leave, and then he was announced he was leaving the team altogether, and it was just a right mess, wasn't it? Back at base, it was just the car wasn't ready. It was very slow. Of course, it was later testing. The team was just all over the place, and it was horrible to see. It was horrible. So we were all thinking, what's it going to be like this year? Well, when they did launch the car, it did do some laps around the track before testing had even begun. So there's good news straight away. They are on time, which is absolutely amazing. Whether the car is as good as what people think it might be, I don't know, because like I said, I'm recording this. You will have a better idea than me because you would have seen what's happening. But let's see how the season goes, and let's see if they can progress on. If they should make any progress into 2020. But certainly Williams need to. For me, certainly, I think Williams need to. Of course, the will improve. I believe in 2020, not significantly to the point of where it's going to be like they're going to be challenging for like P5 or P6 or anything like that. I believe that they're looking at probably finishing last again, which is all right. It's such like a shame to say, but if they can score more than 1 point, or even like have a bit of a fight on track, whether that's with the Hasses, the Alfa Romeos, the Alfa Tauris, or whatever, then that's a bonus in itself. But certainly, what I would be doing if I was Williams is looking at 2021. That is going to be the perfect opportunity for Williams to go back. Well, I say go back to try and help them progress even more, even further forward. They've been in a bit of a rot for the past couple of years now. Sponsors leaving here and there. It's been a bit of a rocky road, but they've brought Latifi in to hopefully steady the ship financially. A brand new livery, which to be fair looks pretty nice. I'm not going to lie, it looks pretty nice. Much better than last year, which, I mean, how can you get any worse from last year, guys? Christ almighty. And of course, 2021, like I said, it marks a brand new era for Formula One. So certainly Williams should be one of those teams that would just cancel development early. Who cares about 2020? Leave it. You're not going to get anywhere. 2021 is your perfect chance to push yourself further up the grid and put yourself in that midfield battle. So certainly 2020, I think 2020 should be like the bookmark, kind of like, okay, right, this is where it all started, the comeback of Williams. Let's forget about 2019. That was the last decade. 2020 marks a new decade. Williams, let's put this season as a marking point of, right, this is where we started, and now let's in the next 5-6 years, Williams are now back to where they once were, winning races and battling for world championships. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Do you think Williams will return to their former glory? Or do you think that the team is completely doomed altogether? Moving on now, Pierre Gasly has turned around in the media and said that he won't change his approach in 2020. Now, Pierre Gasly had a very rocky year in 2019, started off the year with Red Bull, ended it in Toro Rosso, and after having that first half of the year at Red Bull, it just wasn't good for the Frenchman at all. Now, this time last year, Pierre Gasly was getting ready to make his Red Bull debut and go into the brand new car, partnering alongside Max Verstappen. Now, he crashed heavily twice in that in the test, and probably from that moment on, he was under pressure straight away. There was just, oh, Gasly, going to be dropped and this and that. There was just loads of headlines, and I remember thinking, going, the season hasn't even started yet, and you were already giving him grief, and he's crashed twice. All right, that's bad, but come on, guys, give him a bit of slack. I mean, come on, he's still young at the end of the day. But Helmut Marko did blame Gasly for sending their test program overboard, and that's why they couldn't get as close to Ferrari or anything else like that. Basically, he just blamed Gasly for being in the car and ruining their testing program. Which, all right, fair enough, he did ruin it, I believe, but. I mean, come on. He's at the end of the day, he is a young lad. They were a bit harsh on him, but all right, his results didn't represent what Red Bull wanted them to do, so therefore he was demoted. Fair enough. I understand that now. But when he went to Toro Rosso for the Belgian Grand Prix onwards, he was certainly looked like he had returned to his former self. In 2018, he was solid. He had a very, very good year in 2018, and then when he went to Red Bull, like I said, it just didn't work. Then he went back to Toro Rosso, and there he seemed more relaxed. He was very quick. He was consistent, and even some races he was beating his former seat or his former car. And of course, Alexander Albon was driving there, and you just see little glimpses of. Okay, there was certainly something, either probably the car, I believe, or maybe the pressure being a Red Bull. There was something wrong there, and guys, he's gone back to Toro Rosso, now AlphaTauri, and he seemed more relaxed. And of course, he got that brilliant podium in Brazil. I mean, he appears in team radio, but never mind. We forgive you guys, we forgive you. But certainly, 2020 is looking like to be hopefully a good year for AlphaTauri, brand new name, and of course Pierre Gasly marking, okay, 2019, let's forget about it. Let's focus on 2020. Let's look forward, not backwards. And all I'm going to say is never say never to a Red Bull return. Gasly still has age on his side, of course, and Red Bull are at the moment. There's no one really ready at the moment to kind of step up to the team, or even Red Bull themselves. Perhaps they could go off in a different direction and employ someone who's not part of the program. But Red Bull haven't really done that in a quite some time. Just thinking off the top of my head who they signed, and I believe I can't think of anyone. I think Mark Webber might have been the last driver that they signed that wasn't part of the program. That's off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure he was the last one, and I can't see Red Bull changing that philosophy anytime soon. So maybe Gasly might get re-promoted if Albon doesn't improve, or maybe Verstappen might leave. Gasly might stay at AlphaTauri next 1 or 2 seasons perhaps, and then he might get a chance to go back to the team to redeem himself, which I think he should be able to get the chance to. Not only him, but Daniel Kvyat as well. I think he's up for like a redemption kind of thing. But anyways, that we're not talking about him. We're talking about Pierre Gasly. So I think Gasly will be in for a really good season, unless that car is absolutely horrible. I think Gasly will be in for a good season, maybe beating Daniel Kvyat. Or I'm excited to see how good those two will battle, because Kvyat had a really good year back in Formula One. And of course, Gasly will want to beat Kvyat, and Kvyat will want to beat Gasly. So that's going to be a nice little battle to see. But I think Gasly might just have the edge on that. I do like Gasly, but of course, he does need to show more consistency. And if he does get a chance to go back to Red Bull, he does need to get his head down, focus on the job, not crash the car, not ruin their program, and hopefully get Red Bull back to where they want to be. So, a bit of a funny-ish story just to finish on. Back in January at the Autosport show, Charles Leclerc said that he did a skydive without Ferrari's permission. Now, this is the first time he ever mentioned of this skydive that he did. He was asked, okay, so what did you get up to during the off-season? What have you been doing? He said, spend time with family, sleeping. And he also said that he did a skydive in Dubai. Now, normally when you do things like a very extreme thing such as this, you will need permission from your team, because it can be quite dangerous. You might get something mad might happen, and of course I know the ultimate price what could happen, but I'll get onto that into a little bit. And of course, like you never got permission and stuff, and we all found it a bit funny and stuff. But and of course, Ferrari found out, and they weren't best impressed at all by it. Now, Charles said that the reason that he didn't tell Ferrari was because that, well, if something did go wrong, then there's only one way this is going to end, and that's me splattered on the floor. And of course, I'm not going to be there for them to tell me off. So yeah, it was like, okay, Charles, fair enough, but anything else could have happened. Maybe like, all right, you might have survived, but it could have been like, break a leg or anything else like that. So something severely bad could have came out of this, but luckily it didn't. And Binotto said in an interview that he still hasn't been forgiven yet for that skydive. And Charles said that, well, he said that he vowed never to do anything like that again. But of course, he will have to inform the team should he want to do something like this. I just think it's just pretty funny that, and of course, I was there to hear it firsthand at the Autosport show. And I just think it's pretty funny that Ferrari haven't forgiven him yet, and maybe that could hinder him throughout the course of the season. All right, Charles, yeah, good, but that skydive, that might something that they might mention, just a bit of a banter, I suppose. I really don't know, but maybe that's the last they'll mention. The last they'll say about it. Put it in the box and then just leave it for another time, or maybe just never mention of it ever again. But that's where I'm wrap up this F1 24/7. Thank you so much for watching as well, and if you have enjoyed it, please give us a like as well. If you are new around here, then please subscribe as well. Like I said, preseason testing has already begun. We will be doing a roundup of preseason testing. First week will be Lyle doing it. He'll be doing his on Friday. And of course, myself, Jordan, I will be doing mine next week. And of course, F1 Debate Show coming this Saturday, at 6 p.m. UK time. And we have a very special video coming out on Sunday with F1 Fanatics, where we are going to be talking about the liveries, we're rating them, what do we think of them, who's the best, who's the worst. So certainly join us for that. Can't wait for that. And then something very special next week involving myself and Sean from the F1 Word. I'm going to be appearing on his live stream about pre-season testing on the Thursday, the 27th. Very, very excited to be doing that, guys. Really, really can't wait for that. My first time on the stream. And of course with Sean as well. And I'm with F1 Fanatics as well, Mike from F1 Fanatics. So I'm I'm looking forward to that. So please go and join us for that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you later.